Hello, beautiful people. Okay, so I am here to address some of the uh, comments from a recent video I shared. The video that I shared where I was saying, I don't give up about what people think of me. I had someone who I care about say a few things that I have given a lot of thought. The first was, if you really don't care, why do you feel like you have to go and announce that publicly? To this, I was like, oh, that's a pretty interesting question. So after sitting with it for a few days, I feel like because my experiences in life having been um, kind of feeling like I had my emotions kind of stuffed when I was younger, I wasn't free to express myself fully. And now that I've spent a long time learning how to express myself authentically, I felt like there are moments when I still feel that self judgment come up because what happened with me was that I was judged by other people and then I internalized that judgment as self judgment. So I would always judge myself about being fearful of what others thought of me, seeking validation and approval of others. And it's taken a long time to get to a point where and this is the other thing, it's like, it's not like you just graduate. Well, I think maybe you do. Maybe someday I will graduate and just be completely free from it. But there are still moments where it comes up where I'm like reflecting upon whether or not I actually am free of the opinions and judgments of other people. Because with this person that popped up, is a person that I have a lot of love and respect and admiration for. So I was like, oh wow, they maybe misunderstood where I was coming from, and it made me feel like maybe I can come across to people in a way that is often misunderstood. And for someone like me, who I consider to be I feel like I'm a wild man. I'm a teacher, I'm a creator. I love to express myself authentically. I use colorful language. I can be very animated and theatrical and dramatic and weird and crazy and wild. And not everybody knows who I really am to my fullest, except me and God. And let's say, 500 people know who I am. They all have a different view of who I am. My mom and dad, the people who probably know me better than anyone else, probably have two completely different views of who I am as a human being. Different relationships, different perspectives, different people. Everyone who sees me does not see the full and complete me. They see their perspective of me based on their experiences and possibly their judgments about who I should be. And that goes for everybody. No two people will see you the same way. They might have some crossover, there might be many people who respect and love and admire you, but it might be in different ways for different things. So, what I'm trying to express in my life and when I share in these videos, and the video the other day, it was a lot more uncensored and free and wild. And I don't feel like I really need to justify or explain that for myself, but for other people to understand, so that if you're a creator, as a creator myself, self judgment has been one of the biggest things that has blocked me. So learning to express myself authentically and kind of go off script, loose cannon, uncensored, can be very freeing. And I felt like in that moment, I was experiencing so much joy and that feeling of absolute freedom that I wanted to express it and share it with other people. And I know that some people have different beliefs about how one should express themselves. And the offer that I would like to make is, if I'm expressing myself and it triggers something in you, if it creates judgment in you, that is something for you to look at. This isn't about me, it's about you. So you have the opportunity, if I say something or act in a certain way that triggers you, no matter what it is that you feel, those are your feelings. I have triggered them, maybe. I have maybe made you feel a certain way. And I feel like it's important for people to take responsibility for their own triggers, their own judgments, their own experiences, and look at themselves and ask, like, what I would offer the person or people who judge me when they watch these videos, think, why is he swearing? Why is he acting a fool? I would ask yourself to look at yourself and see maybe within yourself where those judgments come from. Were you judged for your use of language or for your childlike behavior? Do you still have some shame around how you express yourself? Do you still have fear of judgment of what other people think of you? So you think, I have that fear. So that's an invitation. Yes, the other thing, when I was saying the other day that I don't give a F word what other people think of me, and that I don't care what other people think of me, I feel like some people may interpret that as I don't care about people, which can't be farther from the truth. I care very much about people. I care very much about humanity. I care very much because I don't want people to suffer. And I know a lot of my suffering has come from right here. And that is the main reason why I share the things I share, because I feel like from the experiences and the knowledge that I've gained in my life, I want to be able to help other people speed up their learning and growth so that they don't have to suffer for as long as I did. I feel like I suffered way longer than I should have because I didn't have the understanding that I have now. And sometimes when I express myself, I do it in a way that is playful and fun, because not everybody is going to want to sit through a preachy teaching video like this. Maybe some will, but not everybody. So I try to express myself in different ways because I feel like as a human being, we are capable of just so much more than we believe. And yes, I can sit here and I can speak deeply and philosophically and in a way of, authoritative teaching, but I can also be childish and free, and that doesn't change what I believe about myself. So it's interesting because I want to share this because I care about other people, and I don't want to live a life where I'm completely isolated and alone. So it's been interesting to navigate how to have healthy relationships with people while also seeking liberation and freedom and not wanting to be censored or controlled, because I feel like I was censored and controlled for a lot of my life. And then I internalized those censors and that control. And I felt like if I acted in certain ways that I was a bad person, or I felt shame, or I felt stupid or foolish. And I don't want to do that anymore. So it's been an interesting experience to explore how to engage with personal relationships without losing my sense of self and just abandoning myself and who and how I want to be so that I can maintain the bonds that I have with other people. Because in reality, it's like I have to be okay with myself no matter what. And if I abandon myself to make someone else happy, that's not the way. Obviously, I feel like it's obvious to me, but I feel like I have a huge heart and I'm willing to help other people and I'm willing to sacrifice I would sacrifice my life, I think, for some other people when it comes to certain circumstances. If there's a circumstance where it's like a kid is running in the road and they're going to get hit by a car, like, yes, I feel like I'm the type of person that would jump out and save the kid or the woman or whoever it is. I feel like I have a lot of care for people and I want to protect people. And at the same time, I'm not willing to abandon my authenticity or censor myself just to make other people feel better. So for that, it comes back to the beginning of looking at yourself and what it is within you that brings up those judgments about me. Is it your fear of judgment? Is it your fear of being criticized? Is it your fear of expressing yourself? Is it your fear of looking foolish, looking childish, being judged as bad for using certain language? That's all yours. For me, I'm willing to face the consequences of my actions. So if I use colorful language and someone doesn't like it, I'm willing to have a conversation with them. Will I change? Maybe, maybe not. What else? The conscious and the unconscious. Okay, so we have our consciousness and our conscious mind, and then unconscious. What has been repressed, suppressed, oppressed. Okay, so what is it? Repressed is something that's within you that's been stuffed unconsciously. Suppressed is something that comes up and you consciously suppress it. And then oppressed is something that has been stuffed or shamed from external. So different things in society where women have been oppressed or people of different races have been oppressed or poor people have been oppressed, things like that. So when it comes to what has been repressed, usually that comes from our conditioning from other people in society. We are told what is good, what is bad, what gets rewarded. We view all of this and we soak in the conditioning of our usually parents, caregivers, peers, teachers, coaches, religion, culture, media. And then we observe what is good, what is bad. And then based on how we engage with other people, different things can happen that make us feel either like, oh, we're being good or we're being bad. So it's like, sometimes I feel like the specific thing that came up recently was my use of language that is not refined. So using swear words was considered not refined. And again, this is something that I think is dependent on the individual's perspective. It's their judgment. It's their feelings of that word being bad, maybe because they still have shame about it. And they have a feeling of certain language being of a higher class or a higher, we talk about the spectrum of consciousness in terms of spirituality and human development. The spectrum of consciousness, it's like we have love, enlightenment, joy, peace, all these higher vibrational frequencies that a lot of times in spiritual communities can be more idolized and worshipped as, if you're enlightened, you only act these ways. And if you use if you engage with the lower frequencies, shame, guilt, doubt, fear, anger, pride, grief, then you're not enlightened. And I feel like that is spiritual bypassing, because as a human being, I feel like we have the capacity to feel that full spectrum. And it's when we repress, suppress, oppress those lower vibrational frequencies or emotions that we have more shadows, that we have more judgments, that we have less acceptance, and that we are actually less enlightened if we are not able to actually fully experience those emotions and understand them. If we resist them, they will persist. So shame is basically the lowest one. And I think that's where the simple way to put it is there's a lot of different emotions that we can talk about, but the big five are bad, mad, glad, sad, and fear. So bad is shame. When you feel bad, that is a shame feeling. That's, oh, I'm a bad person. There's guilt, which is I did something bad, and there's shame, which is I am bad. Okay. Glad is the happiness, the joy, representative of all those more higher vibrational energies and feelings on the spectrum of consciousness. And then mad kind of includes anger, frustration, pride. Obviously, sad is the grief, the depression, the apathy. And then fear. So as human beings, we have the capacity to feel all of these different feelings. And this is where I wrote a comment on here, Aham Brahmasmi, which means I am totality. And I also wrote, it's all God and it's all good. Because when we start judging things as bad and as evil, we start repressing things, suppressing things, and oppressing things. We can demonize people. We can demonize things. And I feel like from my study of religion, spirituality, psychology, philosophy, ethics, morals, history, God is a loaded word, because depending on what religion or culture you grew up with, you might have a different interpretation or a different belief of what God is. What I believe God is, from my studies of, I've studied a little bit of Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, the Vedic tradition, which is Hinduism. And from what I have come to experience through meditation and my own seeking and understanding is that God is everything. And God is a state of consciousness. In the Bible, it talks about the I am. So that I am, that isness, that identity, that is God. And that exists within everyone. That supreme I. We also have our ego, which can be considered our little I. Okay, our persona, the mask that we wear. The ego is just this little Dustin, whereas God is the experience that is living through me. It is the consciousness that I can experience when I surrender little Dustin to this greater, higher version of myself. The problem that I've experienced in my life with a lack of integrating that little I and the big I. So sometimes what I have experienced in my seeking of greater understanding and knowing of God is I felt like I had to become a certain way in order to experience God and experience divinity. And I felt like I could not be angry or be sad or feel shame or feel fear. I felt like if I were this spiritual person, then I wouldn't feel those negative feelings. And what I have come to know now is you need to be able to feel it all in order to heal it all. And we are, this godness, this isness, is this witnessing and this observer consciousness that we all have within ourselves. It is the essence of awareness, the existence within you that is in everything and everyone. That same big I, isness, energy, essence, God, spirit, consciousness, soul, whatever you want to call it, exists within you. and everyone else as this observer, this experience. In the little I is the Dustin who's trying to, control and achieve things and do things. And this big soul, this God self, is watching the little play, the little Dustin go around and doing all these things. And when little Dustin, or the ego, wants to prove himself or get love and validation or achieve goals and thinks it has to be certain ways, that's just the ego trying to protect itself. From my experience, surrendering that ego to this higher self, God, isness, is what allows that little I, Dustin, to integrate with this higher self, this higher sense of God and consciousness and awareness, which creates a lot of freedom, because it becomes like watching your life unfold like a movie rather than being attached to the character that you're playing. So it's like I am both the character and the person who's getting to sit and watch. And that's why sometimes it seems like I act like a fool because I don't care. It's because sometimes I am really just observing myself and I'm laughing because I'm like, this dude is crazy. And it's so beautiful because I'm like, oh wow, I am experiencing myself becoming who it is that I feel like I have always wanted to be. And this is sometimes a really tricky thing to understand because it's so subtle that people identify so strongly with their egos that it can be really hard to discern between what is the ego and what is the higher self. And from my experience, when we start repressing parts of ourselves, whether it's out of fear or shame, we are actually preventing ourselves from experiencing this expanded state of love and joy and acceptance and peace. And I know this from my own experience because I have suppressed and repressed a lot of my own feelings and ways of being. The feelings I have now are freedom from fear, freedom from shame. I have experienced so much fear and so much shame in my life, and it controlled my behavior for so long that maybe I have overcompensated in how I express myself in order to kind of prove to myself that I'm not afraid. Which might be interpreted by others in whatever way that they interpret it. I am not in control of your perspective of me. I am not in control of how you view me. I am not in control of my reputation. I am not in control of you and how you see me. And I'm okay with that. I love you. I care about you. I love people. I care about people. And I share myself and what I've experienced so that other people can start to maybe learn and say, oh, wow, I've had similar experiences to this guy. Maybe, if you can relate to what I'm sharing, maybe you feel less alone. Maybe that will validate something within you that needs a little boost and encouragement that like, oh yeah, all right, I'm on the right path. Because for a long time, what I experienced in my life and my searching it was hard, man. It was rough. I spent a lot of time alone and praying, meditating, and seeking wisdom and clarity. And it was like I have suffered so much, depression, anxiety, fear, thoughts of just like wanting to die very often for the last probably, I would say, 20 plus years. And that's one of the reasons I share so much now is because I'm like, okay, well, memento mori is a Stoic quote that means remember that you will die. So there will come a time when I am no longer experiencing life in this human body anymore, unless maybe I learn how to become immortal. And I'm sharing and experiencing my life to the fullest in hopes that I know from what I experienced between the ages of like 16 and 36, I have learned from other people. Other people have inspired me, and I have learned from their shared wisdom and experience. So all I'm trying to do in my life now is continue to learn and grow and express myself in an authentic way so that other people might be inspired and be able to learn from my life experiences. Subjective value judgments. Everybody has their own values individually of what they think is right or wrong, good or bad. This higher perspective of what I feel like is God or consciousness, it really is this saying of Aham Brahmasmi, I am totality. And what that creates, that feeling and that experience of knowing it's all God, it's all good. Yes, there are things that are happening in existence and experience that we're viewing that are terrible. I'm not saying that I support war, violence, poverty, genocide, any of these evil things. But I truly believe if there wasn't something to be learned from them, they wouldn't exist. We would not have good if we didn't have bad. Life exists in this polarity, in this contrast. And as human beings, I feel like we're here to experience the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the good and the bad. For what reason? Maybe our own growth and development to have this experience. A lot of people in spiritual and philosophical communities think it's like God is choosing to have a human experience. Because if God really is this totality of everything, and it is that oneness, imagine just being alone forever without any good or bad, just completely still and silent. I feel like this play of life and creation, in the Vedic tradition they call it Maya or illusion, is this sense of separateness where God consciousness gets to come into a vessel as a human being, as an individual, as an ego or persona, to experience itself through that form. And it's doing it through me, through you, through everything else. What has been very interesting to me is to be able to witness the unfolding of my own life and wisdom. And there are times when I sit here and it feels like God comes to me, through me, and it's teaching me about myself as I surrender to be of service to the greatest and highest good. Yeah. So thank you for being here. I love you. I care about you. God loves you, cares about you, and is right here. The kingdom is within you. God's inside you. Yep. I'm just here to share my experience. I love you. God bless. Good luck. See you later.